everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to Court-to-Court with the Esquire Coach, where we talk about all things college sports and the law. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Tony Wyllie. Mr. Wyllie is a seasoned sports executive with more than 27 years of sports management experience. His career has spanned 6 different ownership groups and 7 different media markets. He served as Senior Vice President of Communications with the Washington Redskins football franchise. He helped guide the Rams through their 1995 transition from Los Angeles to St. Louis, as well as the relocation and renaming of the Tennessee Titans. He was one of the first hires of the expansion Houston Texans in 2000, and Mr. Wyllie is the only executive in the NFL to have won the Pete Rozelle Award with 3 different teams. Mr. Wyllie also served as the regional president and managing director of the Special Olympics, overseeing programs operations in North America, Canada, and the Caribbean. Mr. Wyllie received his bachelor's degree from Texas Southern University and his MBA from Rice University. We are very excited to have you here today. Mr. Wyllie, thank you for joining us. I just gave a brief overview of your background and bio, but would you mind talking a little bit more about your experience as an NFL executive and your time with the Special Olympics?
Sure. But first of all, thanks for having me. And you really did. You really touched on a lot of points in my career. But I'll add that I really never worked a day in my life because I truly love what I did. And on top of that, I worked with some great people, and someone helped open the doors for me and made me promise that I did the same. And I'm proud to say that I helped open the doors for a lot of young people to get into sports. And it was very fulfilling to, after working in the NFL, to work with the Special Olympics, because the people are very dedicated to that cause, and the champion for Special Olympic athletes is just phenomenal, and it's very, very heartwarming. So I just want to say that now that led to me starting my own firm, the Collective Engine, to try to secure NILs for high school and collegiate athletes, and that's been pretty rewarding.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Collective Engine, because that's exactly what we're going to get into now. After state legislation was enacted and the NCAA enacted their interim NIL policy, they made it possible for college athletes to receive name, image, and likeness opportunities. And you began to work in that arena as the founder and CEO of the Collective Engine. So could you please tell us more about the Collective Engine and the work that you do there?
Been a little bit over a year, and so far I have about close to 80 clients in 27 different sports, and half are females. So it's been pretty cool. It's a point where I don't have to recruit. People refer so many athletes to me, and we try to help everyone. So it's been really good. It's changing every day. There's different laws and different rules regarding the NIL space, but it's here to stay, and we're happy to be a part of it.
That's great to hear that half of your roster is females, because you hear a lot about the gender equity issues, especially as it relates to NIL collectives, and not that your organization is an NIL collective in the same sense as the schools, but as it relates to them, and they're procuring a lot of NIL deals, but only roughly 34% of those deals go to women's athletes. So how are you able to get so many women to work with you and assist them with their NIL deals?
Well, I partner with some good groups, like for softball, and then that led to gymnastics, and that led to, we have a rodeo queen from Maryland. We have very different sports. We have gymnastics, like I mentioned, basketball, and we don't just have the traditional sports. Like I said, we have rodeo, we have softball, and it's growing. There are a lot more opportunities really for female athletes.
That's great. That's great. So the Collective Engine, does work in NIL services, but you also have listed that you provide financial literacy services, character, leadership and development services, and brand strategy services. Could you talk a little more about those services that the Collective Engine provides, and how those services dovetail with NIL?
Well, essentially, not only do we provide those services that you mentioned, but we added one more. We add mental health. We have a person that's available for our clients for mental health, and after doing this for a year, I think it's really needed. But in addition to, getting deals, like I said, we want to provide financial literacy, character development, brand strategy, just to make them really well-rounded and use all the different services that they need, because that's what's needed nowadays to be being a student athlete.
Yeah, could you talk a little more about like what type of financial literacy
Oh yeah,
issues,
well,
plus mental health?
yeah, I mean, money don't come with instructions. So we have someone that works with, Wells Fargo to give, education of what to do. You need how to be smart with your money, because, a lot of these young folks, this is the first time they're getting this type of money. So we just want to, help them, give them some education so that later on, they can have a nest egg, or later on they can say, okay, I'm glad you provided that for me because I'm able to do this much now at this time. So it's really about education.
Yeah, yeah. So what type of questions are some of your most common questions that you get from athletes and their parents about these issues?
A lot of times, they just want advice. A lot of people, the great thing about being an executive for 30 years, it gives me credibility and people and trust. So people normally, they just want to get educated. What's going on? A lot of people don't know much about NIL. Some people know much about the laws. So they really want to know, education on what happens. I mean, they need step-by-step directions on what to do and what to look out for. And really just, I mean, a key advisor. I tell them, when they sign with me, they get another uncle.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Do you help them like reviewing in any NIL deals? And
Oh, of course. Yeah, we do it together. Yeah, well, I'll come to them and say, hey, this is what we have. These are the, three things normally is like, the terms, the length of the deal. Second thing is, compensation, what they're going to get. It could be cash, it could be merchandise. You're going to get some sort of compensation. And then the third is the deliverable. What is it going to take? Do they need to do a post, a social media post? Do they do a commercial? What do they do to help promote it? So it's usually three factors that goes into every deal.
that sounds great. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you see athletes facing as it relates to NIL?
Again, education. Some people just look at, trying to look at the dollar signs, and you can't really follow the money because you really don't end up well in the long run. So usually just really have to look at themselves as a business and as a brand. And I always tell them, well, what is a brand? Your brand. Your brand is usually what you want people to say about you when you're not around. So everything that you do, every deal that you have needs to be about yourself. It has to be authentic. I tell them, I'm not going to push McDonald's on you if you're a Burger King person. So everything that you do has to be really, really authentic, and has to be real. You have to be loyal.
Yeah, that's great to hear you say that. I talk a lot to about I talk to athletes a lot about the similar things, NIL education and things like that. Being that I'm an attorney, I focus a lot on the legal aspects, like things that they need to know, some of the contract issues that you mentioned, some of the IP issues, trying to explain to them, why they can't just use their schools, logos or trademarks and things of that nature. So all of those education pieces are certainly important for the athletes as they go through this process. I understand. I know you work in the DMV area. I think I seen Virginia is like your home base, and about 2 weeks ago, Virginia ruffled some feathers when they enacted a new NIL law to allow the colleges and universities to directly pay their athletes for NIL, and I think that's supposed to become effective somewhere around July 1st. So I have a couple of questions. One is like, how do you see that affecting your business? And have you begun to get questions? And how will you guide your athletes as it relates to, because now it's not really a third party NIL deal. Like what we have right now is third party deals with companies like Burger King or McDonald's that you mentioned, working with the athletes irrespective of the school. Here's going to be a totally different um, scenario where you have your university who is making an NIL deal with you.
Listen, I'm looking out for the athletes, and that's what I care about. The fact that they're actually now, I don't care who's making the deals or who's getting the deals for you, as long as they get deals, as long as they get fair deals, and as long as no one's getting taken advantage of. I think anything that helps the athletes in the long run, that's what I'm all for. So I'm really, it's going to be interesting to see moving forward if other states will follow suit. But again, as long as the athletes get taken care of, that's all I care about.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, do you foresee like any maybe differences in how the deals are structured, being that it's coming straight from the school versus the third party?
I mean, deals are deals, whether it's from, whoever's doing it. It could be from the school, it could be from someone else. Again, as long as the athletes are getting deals, that's all I care about.
As I was reading your bio, one thing stuck out to me, and it said that you believe in the power of sports to help boys and girls become exceptional men and women. And one thing that I thought that NIL would do and was hoping that it would do was provide these young people opportunities to begin to set themselves up for life after their sport. So, how do you see NIL as assisting in helping the overall development of athletes, and then from an educational and an entrepreneurial standpoint? Because as they seek NIL deals, they're essentially becoming entrepreneurs.
It is. I mean, it's a business now, and they're business people, and they need to start conducting themselves as such and thinking himself as such. Uh, I have a high school athlete that's a client, and he's only 16 years old, but he's so astute right now as a businessman, and I'm very proud of him. He's gonna do very well both on and off the court because of the mindset. It's going to change the mindset of some of these athletes now, so that they can think like a business person and start thinking a big picture, so that later on, when they're in their 30s, they're gonna be a lot better off than we were when we're in our 30s.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned high school athlete, because still many people don't know that high school athletes in most states, not in all states yet, can engage in NIL activities. So how is it different working with high school athlete versus a college athlete?
It's just, the experience level, but again, there's some athletes in high school that are very, very advanced. And they're again, they get the branding, they get everything that needs to be done, and it's really shaping and molding them at an earlier age. And whether you're a freshman in college or a freshman in high school, I mean, I think just the fact that you can start thinking like a business person and thinking, at really enhancing your brand and taking advantage of these opportunities right now is something I think is going to be really good.
I'll ask, like, what is the landscape for high school athletes who may want to enter NIL deals? You see a lot about the college athletics and some of those NIL evaluations, which aren't always exactly as they seem on their face. But you can get into like what is the landscape? Like, what is the probability of getting
I
a
think, well, first of all, you're a high school athlete. You really have a lot of influence in your town. I mean, people follow you. People are fans, and it's just that you can set something up like an autograph signing at one of the restaurants. You can do something, and something like in high school, getting something for like $500 is like 5 million. When you're in high school, something as much as a couple $100, that's a nice chunk of change to have. So really, the landscape is just getting with some of the local businesses is going to be very rare for a high school athlete to get a national deal, but for a high school athlete, it's right there in your town. Some of the mom and pop places, the barbecue place or smoothies place, you can set a deal up where you can have your own customized menu, and then you can be creative and just enhancing your brand.
Right, yeah, yeah, and I know a lot of those same skills and experiences that they have in high school will be transferable to them as they, take their skills over to the college landscape. Or even for those who, may not be able to play in college, you've learned valuable skills, for yourself as you pursue your next steps in life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I know when you're working with high school athletes, probably especially, you have, you're working with their parents as well. So how do you support parents or speak to parents about the best ways to support their athletes as it relates to NIL?
You have to really do something and basically pay attention to how they conduct themselves. Because if you want a brand to be associated with you, you want to make sure that you're, going to be in a positive light. So, things that they post on social media, the way they act in public, they can't really, they want to be something that people want to associate with. So the parents need to know and understand, of course, kids are still going to be kids, but you just need to make sure that, the kids, they stay grounded and, they become someone that people want to be like and be a role model. They are role models. So, you work with the whole family just to make sure, everyone's on the same page.
You mentioned social media, and social media plays a big role in this space for many other athletes. So, how do you counsel your clients as it relates to social media and how to use it as more of a tool to help them in this process?
One thing you don't want it to take over your life. You got to control it. You can't be consumed with it. You be really strategic. I mean, everything you put, it's kind of like a chess game. Every time you post Denzel Washington, you don't see Denzel Washington doing media interviews until when he has a movie coming out. Otherwise, you really don't see him. So you don't just do stuff for the sake of doing it. You be strategic with it. You control what you let in. So people want to get insight into your lives, but you control what you want to control. Like, post the gloves you're gonna use when you play your game, or your favorite meal. You don't have to go too crazy, but you can really be strategic and still let people into your lives.
Yes, yes. Sounds like, being purposeful and intentional about what you're posting on social media is key. And it's also key,
Absolutely.
for like brand alignment, right? If you're really passionate about one thing and, posting about that thing that help you align with better brands that more align with you. So you'll get more fulfilling NIL opportunities.
Absolutely. Like I talked about earlier, your branding, your brand. If you're a health and wellness person, is that part of if that's part of your brand, then you'll post things that you do in health and wellness. And next thing you know, you'll get a call from a supplement company or a smoothie place that can help you both on and off. And that's the thing. Not only do you do deals that will help you, on the field, you also do deals that will help you off the field. Like whether it's recovery shoes, whether it's recovery things that can help you while you're sitting at home, you recover from your arm or things like that. So, I mean, things that can help you both on and off the field or the court, those are the types of deals that you try to do.
So what advice would you give to athletes on the high school level, on the college level, and to their parents about NIL and how to make the most out of these opportunities?
Be strategic and read the contracts, read everything, know what you're signing. Know what you're signing. A lot of people just do it to know what you're getting into. Make sure know the rules. You don't want to mess up your eligibility. Follow everything. Be above board and consult with people that know what they're doing.
There's a lot going on in the college athletic space. So now I'm going to just ask you about some of those topics and if you're getting questions from your athletes and the parents about these topics. One being one of the big elephants in the room right now is should college athletes be deemed employees? In March, we saw the Dartmouth men's basketball players vote to unionize. So, I'm interested in your thoughts on that and maybe what type of questions or concerns you may hear from athletes and their parents.
I haven't heard anything regarding the union stuff, the Darmouth stuff. No one, to be honest, that hasn't reached down to my clients. People just, they follow it, they read up on it and see what's going on. But no one's really been asking questions about that. But again, this whole thing, it's only been around since 21. So it's still new. I don't think it's going anywhere, but things will evolve and things like that will happen. So we just have to stay abreast of what's going on and stay in tune.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One piece of big news that came out just or is ongoing right now is they're talking about the House case. If you follow, and that case has NIL ramifications. What they're asking for is like back NIL pay for former college athletes, and they're asking for broadcast NIL revenue for the use of the athletes NIL. One of the best examples is the March Madness tournament, right? Just Caitlin Clark's face was everywhere in March when they were marketing that tournament. So this week they started talking about potential settlement negotiations in that case. So just interested in your thoughts on that and how an outcome of that case may affect your work.
That's going to be a lot of money. I mean, today, what the settlement is, they're talking about $2.7 billion or something like that.
Yeah, that's the settlement. But if they
I
go
mean,
to trial, they're looking at a potential for $4.3 billion. So
that's a lot of money.
yes.
It's a lot of money. That's going to be very interesting. I mean, it's going to affect a lot of people, and it's going to change college athletics forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I think we'll all be watching to see how that turns out. Well, I would like to thank you for joining us. Do you have any other parting words that you would like to share with everyone?
I just want to say that take advantage of the opportunities. I mean, this is a different time now, and really just get advice from key people that know what they're doing. So make sure that you keep your best interests at heart. So I think again, use this opportunity to really enhance your brand that can set yourself up for the future.
Great, great. Could you share with the audience how they may get in contact with you? And
Sure. The collective engine, see it is collective-engine.com is our website. I'm also on Instagram, TCE_agency, and both Twitter as well. So you can reach out to us both on social media. I'm on LinkedIn as well as well as our website. Easy to get in touch with me.
all right, well, you heard him. Those are the ways to get in touch with him. He could be a valuable resource to you as you are trying to navigate this NIL process, a vital resource to parents as they are trying to assist their athletes with this process. Again, Mr. Wyllie, I would like to thank you for joining us and have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Take care.